SCORE intro and get things started today. So this is all about EIDL. This is for people that already have the loan and they're trying to figure out what's next and what they need to do next. So that's what this webinar is for specifically. I'm going to talk about SCORE first. SCORE offers lots of training. We've started our new season this January. Definitely encourage you to check out the newsletter and our website for that information. We have a lot of new offerings this year. A lot of great information, a lot of great speakers coming in. The other thing SCORE does is mentoring. Mentoring is free. It's always free and confidential. Our mentors are volunteers and they come to us with lots of different experiences and knowledge that they want to share with folks. We work with folks that are thinking they might want to start a small business. We're working with folks that are in the process of starting that business, and we work with folks that already have a business and they're having, they want to grow, or they want help with marketing, or they want help with financing, different things. So we work with the whole gamut. Sessions usually range in that for the first session, 30 to 40 minutes. They will be about talking to you about what your goals are, and helping create a plan to help you meet those goals and challenges. So we're there for you to help get that going. Should you want a mentor, you can put a note quickly in chat. Diane and I were just discussing that she will be helping, can help with any, obviously on today with questions, but if you should have questions later down the road, we have her as a resource to assist us as well. You can also look for a mentor on the websites listed here. These are the chapters in our district. You can also find a lot of great information other than a mentor on those websites. There's training. There's going to be a library section that has all kinds of templates and little videos and little how-tos. Definitely encourage you to reach out to that. And as Diane mentioned, we are using the Q&A for questions. It just lets me keep track of them. Q&A will be for questions you want asked to Diane today. We will read those out when appropriate. Chat can be used for everything else. And as she mentioned, in that chat, you can direct the chat comments to the panelists, which would be Diane and I, or to everyone in the group. So there's a little drop down that helps you distinguish that information. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull my share down, and I'm going to turn it over to Diane from the SBA.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And I really appreciate being able to spend some time with all of you. I know some of these things can be a little overwhelming. If you will put in the chat, it would be wonderful for me to know if you have started the process of going through to do the EIDL repayment. I'm going to go through some slides and help you, do that. But if some people have already gotten started, how's it going? That would be helpful. I will also just really, really want to reinforce the availability of having SCORE mentors and counselors. I happened to reconnect with a college friend a few weeks ago, and in the process of the conversation, oh, you're working for the SBA, and and EIDL came up, and she goes, I got one of those loans. Ooh, I have no idea. And she's doing elder care. So part of it is we really want to help people understand the process. I am not a fan of easy or simple. I think those are words that should be banned. This is not easy. It is not simple. It is, but there's a lot of steps, and you are all able to do the steps. It just means some patience. So I'm going to walk through and help you understand some of the steps, what's involved, and all of that sort of stuff. So there are a couple questions, Teresa, that I'll have you answer in the chat, and then I will go ahead and share my screen and get going here. Okay. So hopefully you can see the screen. Teresa, you can see the screen. I'm just going to ask you to do a quick...
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Sometimes you got multiple screens here going. Okay. And it is not advancing. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. All right, so COVID-19, hard to believe it was 19 and we're in 2023. 23 right now. It's just been a long journey. So for businesses, we just really want to help you out. And the money was there when you needed it, and now is that time to get it paid back. The EIDL program, as many of you know, was designed to be a loan for working capital to help businesses stay afloat during this crisis. It is a loan, and so it is not a grant. And the PPP program was a grant. This is a loan. So we want to be sure that people really understand the details of this program, and how it works. It's a 30-year loan. So this is a loan that is going to be a part of your life for 30 years. So we're going to want to be sure that everybody is aware of what's involved. We're going to talk about how to make payments. On the off chance we have somebody up really early from the West Coast, there's a different servicing center for people west of the Mississippi. I'm going to assume most people are not up early and are doing this in their own time zone. So for the East Coast, your servicing center is Birmingham, Alabama, and I'll be giving you some information about that. We'll do the, planning of the payments, Q&A, and I'm happy to stick around and answer any questions if if we need to do a little bit more. Also, as Teresa said, if people want to have some, time with a working session, we're looking at making that available for people. Okay, so the overview of the EIDL loan program was it helped almost 4 million small businesses and nonprofits nationwide and distributed $390 billion. This was to help them with their working capital. It was deferred, and at the peak of EIDL, they were doing $1 billion a day and 50,000 applications. Prior to the pandemic, it was tens of thousands a year. So this was a huge change. I was brought on board during the COVID crisis to help out. July 1st, 2020 was the first date I came to work at the SBA. And so I completely felt this myself as a small business owner. So the average loan size was under 100,000, and 90% of them went to businesses that were 10 people or fewer. So that's just kind of an overview of what it was and how it came to be. As I mentioned earlier, it is a loan and it must be repaid. Joe Biden and I have never had coffee, and he has not said anything to me other than this since we've never talked. So it will not be forgiven. It is not a grant. There was a 30-month deferment. So if you got your loan at X date, 30 months from that was the date that it began due. The first series of loans started being due in December. So that's why Teresa and I have started to do these webinars last month, and we're going to be continuing to do them probably for the foreseeable future to help people as it rolls over to their payment date. Interest was accrued from the day you got the loan. And that has been some confusion for people when they log in and say, wow, I had a conversation with a woman yesterday, and she says, I took out a loan for 20,000 and now it's more. Why is that? Part of that situation is the fact that it was doing that. You are responsible for making monthly payments until it's paid in full. And I'll be talking about hardship in case we have a hardship situation that anybody wants to talk about. If you choose to pay it all off at one time, there's no penalty for prepayment. These loans are connected to the U.S. Treasury, and so they will be reported to credit bureaus. Because it is a part of the U.S. Treasury, it is connected to the IRS. When you got the loan as the business owner, you put in your social security number, and you'll see as I walk through step by step with the screenshots of the portal, you will be using your social security number to get the repayment process organized. So this is something that we're really emphasizing very, very much. This is something that hope is not a process. So you want to communicate with and I'll give you the contact information for the customer service centers. We in Boston cannot give you a specific information besides what we know. We can't get into the loans and make adjustments. That happens with their the servicing centers, but we're here to help you understand the process. And we want to be sure that people really understand the importance of this. As I mentioned earlier, the first payment was due from the date of the original loan. And when we go onto the portal, you'll be seeing some of these sort of screenshots for you. If you cannot find your loan, my first suggestion is to go into your email and just type in EIDL. That is probably where you're going to be able to find any loan documents that, oops, hang on, let me go back here. You will be able to find any loan documents. If for some reason you cannot find anything at all, contact the customer service center to get a copy. And you will be using the CAFS portal to go find your loan, and then that will take you over to pay.gov to do the payment. And I, again, will walk through the screenshots, on all of that. Just take a quick break. Teresa, is there anything that we should answer correctly right away, or is there?
Sorry, I was getting some handouts and links ready. No, we're
No.
going to save them. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, I just wanted to be respectful because I'm trying to focus on the presentation, but when I see the numbers go up on the Q&A and the chat, I want to be respectful of people's questions. We'll do that at the end, and we'll go from there. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you won't want to access the CAFS, which is the Capital Access Financial System. And so you will go to this website, and then that will take you to pay.gov. SBA/.pay. So that will help you create the CAFS account. You will then put in your social security number, and that will have your loan details there, the payment amount. And most of you will probably not be enrolled. When I did this the other day and helped out with some banks, the banks all have these accounts, but they also may not have them for their own borrowing purposes. But so part of it is to do that. Most people are solo, proprietors or small businesses. And so that was the credit that you had was used to do this. And that's why it's tied to your social security number. So here's a screenshot. So this is what it will look like when you log into CAFS. And so you will see this search for borrower records, and then there will be a button toward the bottom that will say, here's your loan. You will click on your loan, and for privacy purposes of these two people, this is an example that was given to us by Washington, D.C. You will click on that loan, take a look at everything, and then you will go over to the make payment. When you go over here, you may need to do some of these drop down of these toggles. So take a moment, grab a cup of tea. This will probably take 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go through this whole process. So go ahead and put that in there and do that toggle and take a look at what things are. At this point, and this is electronic, this is a display only, but at this point, your loan will show up, the amount, and here you will see the amount of the last payment, the amount to principal, the amount to interest, and the balance due. It will also have the payment due date and the installment amount. You can do recurring payments. What I understand from people who've been through this is you to go through it the first time and you get that all done, and then you can go back and set up the recurring payments. I'm hearing some confusion about not being able to set that up the first time. And so we'll take a look at that. As I mentioned, there are two servicing centers. For those of us east of the Mississippi, it's Birmingham. For those west, it is El Paso. And so in a moment, I will give you that contact information. As Teresa said, you will all be getting the slides, and this is being recorded, so you have that information. If there are any changes in your business, and this is where you may want to get a SCORE counselor. Somebody yesterday wrote me and said their business is shutting down. That is information the SBA needs to know, and you do want to contact the servicing center to let them know that. If you've sold your business and there's a change of ownership, please, please, please meet with a SCORE counselor, talk about what's involved. This is a loan that does stay with your social security number. So you do want to be sure that all communication, transfer of the loan is very, very clear to the servicing center and the SBA. So this is the information for Birmingham. And on the off chance we have somebody from who's up early from the west, this is the contact information for the servicing center up there. Payment concerns and options. We do suggest that you do automatic payments once a month. It is also suggested that you put those in maybe 3 to 4 days before your payment. And so when your payment date is due, it goes like this last weekend was a federal holiday. Banks aren't processing payments, so you want to just be sure that you factor in holidays and things like that. So just do it a couple of days ahead of time, to factor in weekends and holidays, and it's just peace of mind. Another 3 cheers for SCORE and the other resource partners for you. There's ones called the Small Business Development Centers. Those tend to be tethered to universities. The SCORE business counselors are here for you, the women's business centers, the veterans groups as well. So all of those groups are available for you, good days, bad days, to be a resource for you to help you out with your businesses. So a lot of things are going on. So, definitely check in with that. Some frequently asked questions. And I'm sorry if this is repetitive, the loans will not be forgiven. So please be sure that you take this loan seriously, like you do your car payment, your mortgage, anything along those lines, for business or personal. We know you want to be responsible for that. If you sell or close your business, contact the servicing center. If you have a traditional SBA loan, sadly, we're seeing what's happening in California. There will be disaster loans there. There are disaster loans in Florida from the hurricanes. Certainly, there may be some things left over from Katrina. You cannot combine those. So you want to be sure that when you go onto the CAVS system, that you are seeing both of those loans there and you are keeping up with both of them. If you cannot make a payment, there is a hardship situation for you. If your loan is under $200,000, you can go onto the portal and there's a hardship button right there. One thing we want to be sure that people understand is you can only use hardship once during the 30 years. And so if it's tough now and you can make the payments, we suggest that you do that in case there might be a hardship situation later on. For example, if you have a seasonal business, there may be a time that it's a bit tougher later on, and you kind of can swing it now. If that's not the situation, just please be aware that after those 6 months, the hardship is over and you will go back up to your other payment. There does need to be a minimum of $25 per month for the hardship to go into effect. And if it's over $200,000, you do want to be in touch with the customer service center to be sure that they have the information that they need. And Teresa, I'm seeing a typo here on this slide. It's missing a digit. So let me get the updated slide for you because that's not a full phone number. So that's kind of my prepared comments. Do we want to go, Teresa, over to the Q&A, and I will stop sharing. And if you want to field any questions, and I see a few things in the chat, but if you want to field anything and let me know that, and if people have other questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions in Q&A, and we will go ahead and take raised hand questions, which means I will unmute you to ask your questions, but I'm going to go ahead and start with those that are already in Q&A. The first one is, how is the payback of the loan affected if you've been paying interest only since the start?
Then I would assume then it would be that you would be paying if you've been only paying the interest, then, as it's now come due, it would be the original loan amount before the interest.
Okay. I logged into my account recently. The account showed the loan I received, and it showed an additional loan or grant that I never applied for. It showed that there was nothing due for that loan. It was a massive amount. I fear that it was fraudulent and my social security number was used illegally. I'm not sure what to do about this and definitely don't want to create a bigger problem for myself.
Okay, Teresa, one thing I will send over to you is the link for reporting fraud. And we will be sure that we get that over to you. That's
Okay.
Thank you for that. And so the first EIDL had a $1,000 advance that was forgiven. That was forgiven. Then the balance was not. So let's say you took out a $10,000 loan that you owe 9 plus the interest. The 1,000 came off, and so part of it is that. Yeah, definitely contact the service center and I will give you the link for fraud, but that is something that we'll want to get on quite quickly.
Okay,
And
so the person that submitted this question submitted anonymously. So if you would
okay,
either put a note to
so
me in chat as a panelist, give me your name or put in Q&A your first name, something, so that I can make sure I can email you directly with that information when she gives it to me.
and I will also put to everyone my email. So my email is Diane.Darling, and it is my name, at sba.gov. And so if the anonymous person wants to write me, that would be great. And yes, to the person who saw the digits that's missing, I will get that fixed. And we could send over slides. Yes, other questions?
There are none posted, so I
Okay.
definitely, you can use the raise hand icon on your Zoom bar. I can unmute you to ask a question out loud. We'll give you time to submit questions into Q&A. We're here. This is your chance to ask those questions. So yeah, because let me just double check. There's nothing in chat other than what I posted. I did, I don't know if everyone saw that. I did put the PDF. It's a little synopsis of the webinar information. You can click on that and download it directly if you'd like. I also included the link to where you can find the recording when that time comes.
Yeah. Well, since we've got a minute, let me just take a look and see if I can't find that fraud link.
Okay.
And then
Good.
I'll do that for a moment. And then if anybody has any questions, you can,
Great.
yeah. Um,
I got another question.
great.
When you're
All
ready, I'll
right.
let you
Yeah.
do
No,
that
I
first.
I found it. It's a general government fraud thing, but here I will put that in the, it's a longer link than let's see. Good grief. Okay, here I'm back. And I will put that in the okay, so I sent that to everybody. I forgot my loan number and I can't sign into SBA. So if you you should be able to reset your password on sba.gov. And then Harvey, and if not, send me an email and we can see what we can sort out. And then also go into your email and to find the loan number. And if not, another option is to call the customer service and get help with them. If you can't find your loan, if you can't log in, I probably can't help you with that. But you sometimes you just, you forget passwords. No financial relationship, get LastPass or OnePass. I have no financial relationship with either of those companies, but and I talked to several people in security, and they've said that those are two good places to keep track of your passwords. My New York Times password is there, my bank passwords are there, my frequent flyer numbers are there. And it's wise to have somebody else who has access to that vault. It's actually called a vault. So on LastPass or OnePass, you have a vault password that takes you in. And actually somebody I know was in the hospital for a few months and nobody had the access to the vault. So, things couldn't get paid. So it's a wise idea to have somebody else have that as well. And both for business and personal. So again, no financial relationship with either of those companies. I just think that's a wise thing to do. Some friends of mine said she had her password, journal. And I'm like, and what if your house burns down? Or what if, you need to jump out of your car because there's an emergency? So, some things are good to have those backups.
Okay, we got some more questions. Any program incentives to paying it back sooner?
Not that I'm aware of at the moment, but let me write that down and see if that's a question I can ask the next time we are on a that pen has died. Here's another pen. Prepay incentive. Let me see if there's any update on that, but I have not heard anything.
Okay. Can I set up my own payment date? Is that a possibility?
I would say probably. The thing to do is you want to Uh, I would, from what I've seen being on there with other people is you can make an adjustment. You're probably going to be able to make an adjustment for earlier versus later. So go on there, see how it's looking for you, and then, um, let's say it's the 15th and you would prefer the first. So that month, maybe make one on the 15th and then the first, and then set up the cadence for the first. When I was helping somebody do the recurring payment, um, they wanted to do that and they were only comfortable doing so much screen sharing with me. So I didn't see it the whole way through to the send.
Okay. And can you review applying for hardship again real quick?
Sure. The applying for hardship is if your loan is under $200,000, you can apply when you go into the CAFS account. There'll be a red, and in fact, let me create another slide, Teresa, and see if I can add this to this since I have to correct the one that doesn't have the correct phone number. And I will add a picture of that. So you will be able to hit that button. And then apply for hardship if it's under $200,000. You do need to make a minimum of $25 payment, and you can use the hardship clause once. So, and the interest is accruing. So it's a little bit of kicking the can. If you need to kick the can, fair enough, but it is going to be a kicking of the can situation. If it's over $200,000, you definitely need to get hold of the service center.
Okay. If you've been paying interest before our loan became due in November, is that deducted from the total owed?
Yes, I mean, so it's like a mortgage loan. So, when you started, it's accruing, and then if you've been paying it down some, the end amount will be less.
And that's, I think, all the questions that are posted currently.
Okay.
Let me just double check. I don't see anything. Since government often has special considerations for veterans, are there any in this program?
There are not veteran considerations for this program, but there are veteran considerations for our traditional loans. So if that is something that you're interested in, you can do a traditional loan with the SBA, and there are some veteran considerations for that. I would encourage people to reach out to the veterans business centers and speak to a counselor in that space. I mean, I'm sure SCORE has many veterans in its space as well. So, you could do some of those. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. We have no additional questions at this time. So
Great.
I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up.
All right. I'll
yeah.
just simply say that share this information, share with your friends and other business owners that the SBA and SCORE are doing these webinars. We want to be sure that we get information out to as many people as possible. We're trying to do them at different hours. So if there's something that you find that is a good hour, some groups are asking for it at 8 in the morning. Others are asking it at 5 in the afternoon. So just send some information if you know of chambers, if you know of any other community group. Message me at diane.darling@SBA. And, we wanted, these are no cost to you. This is part of what we offer to you to be sure that you understand your obligations and how we can help out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Diane.
You're so welcome. Absolutely. My pleasure.
Okay. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.